What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yo, this is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Philadelphia 76ers dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I appreciate you guys for being here. It means a lot to me. It goes a long way. Make sure you guys smash that like button, And by the way, smash that like button. It's currency in this YouTube space. It really helps the content grow. Really helps new people find the show and find the content. So make sure you guys smash that like button. I understand that when you guys tune in to Chalk It Up Sports, you're used to your Eagles talk. I get that. But we're expanding our horizons here. We're trying to grow the show, grow the platform, grow the base, right? And in doing so, we're going to cover your Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I know when it comes to the Eagles, we're very tribal. But when it comes to basketball, everyone has their favorite players. And at that point, we become segmented or fragmented. Right? Some of us that are friends, we become foe when it comes to the basketball talks. So I appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. I know we're still growing this thing, and I just appreciate all of you guys who are watching, who are listening, whether you're listening on Spotify on your own time, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts on your own time, or doubling back on the YouTube channel, or maybe you're listening live right now. I appreciate you guys for locking in and giving my Sixers content a chance. And it's straight like that. So let's get into why we're here. The Philadelphia 76ers played some ball last night. They faced off against the Charlotte Hornets yesterday. And it was an interesting game, to say the least. I want to start with the positives, because I definitely have more positives than negatives from this matchup. But my positives, first and foremost, I got to give Jared McCain my honor and respect. I'm going to be very transparent with you all. When we drafted Jared McCain, I was not thrilled by it whatsoever. I wanted a forward. I wanted somebody that had more size, right? And Jared McCain, he's a guard. He's like 6'2", 6'3", something like that. He's not a big dude. I mean, he's not like a slim guy. He's not a skinny guy. He clearly has some size on him, some strength on him, but like he's not scrawny, but I just didn't want to guard. I didn't want to guard, nonetheless they drafted him. And then, I get you start learning more about the kid. He's really big on TikTok, and, he paints his fingernails and all that kind of stuff. He's a super Drake stan, so he already isn't my favorite kind of person, right? But Man, oh man, game recognized game, and that kid got a lot of it. He had a career game, against the Charlotte Hornets, and the Philadelphia 76ers needed every bit of his contributions. Jared McCain played, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he played a season high, a career high in minutes. He played 31 minutes, and he went 10 for 18 from the field, 3 for 8 from the three-point line, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 3 boards, 2 assists, only 1 turnover, 27 points to end the game. And the thing that stood out to me about McCain, outside of his shooting efficiency, is when he decided to choose his spots, when he decided to pick up his offense. You know, it seemed like Jared McCain really made a concerted effort to impose his will on the opponent, and he was very fearless in his approach. You know, there were several moments that stood out to me. There were moments where he'll go downhill and he'll do his signature turnaround mid-range jump shot. He would get threes off the dribble, or maybe Paul George would kick it to him. Like he was just taking advantage of his opportunities. He was taking advantage of his opportunities, and he was creating opportunities for himself as well. And you need that, especially with Tyrese Maxey not being available. Tyrese Maxey is going to be gone for at least the next 3 weeks, dealing with that hamstring strain. And ultimately, we don't know exactly when he'll be back, but he should be back within the next 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, tough game, tough win for the 76ers. Another interesting thing about this is that their only 2 wins on the season had to come in overtime, right? They are fighting tooth and nail for these wins, and I feel like it shouldn't be this difficult for them to win games. That's just my humble opinion. I feel like it shouldn't be this difficult. But regardless, Jared McCain came in and did exactly what the Philadelphia 76ers needed him to do. And I think it's only a matter of time before Jared McCain starts getting starting minutes. I feel like the way he played in that game against Charlotte, you got to give him more minutes, especially since Maxey's not in. You need someone who's not afraid to create their own shot, who's someone who can shoot the three, shoot the mid-range, can get to the rim, knows their limitations, right? The thing I noticed about McCain that stood out to me in that game was he knows his skill set. He knows exactly what he's capable of doing. He knows how to get to his spots. He knows how to get to his shots. And again, the kid is fearless. So I got to give a ton of love, a ton of respect to Jared McCain. I was not much of a believer, but again, I wasn't a believer prior to him even dribbling the ball or making a shot. I guess when I see these young guys come in with this TikTok stuff and all these TikTok dances and they painting their nails, I'm like, come on, man. Like, can we just get a hooper? And this kid could hoop. Man. Jared McCain could hoop. So, anything that I've said about him in the past, hey, I own it. I wear it. Brother, you got a fan in me. He played with a little bit of swagger. He tough. He's physical. He's a willing defender. He hustles for the ball. He's not afraid to die for the loose ball. He may be a pretty boy, but he don't play like that. You feel what I'm saying? So I gotta give a ton of credit to Jared McCain. Again, career high in minutes, if I'm not mistaken, career high in points. I want to double check that minute count though. Make sure I ain't got that wrong. So okay, he tied a career high in minutes. His career high was in Los Angeles when they played the Lakers. He played 31 minutes then, and he put up 18 points, and he played 31 minutes against the Hornets. The other game he put up a good amount of points. He put up 19 points against Memphis, put up 12 points against the Pistons. So his shot is starting to fall. Back-to-back games where he shot pretty well from deep. And again, I think his confidence is just growing. And you want this team to get back above water, you got to give Jared McCain some minutes. That's just my opinion about that. Another positive that I want to get into, I want to talk about Yabusele, man. Yabusele is becoming one of my favorite players on this team. And it's because he does the little things. And he's instinctual. He's decisive. When he gets an opportunity, he's either going to take the shot or he's going to pass it. He's going to make the right basketball play. I don't think I've seen Yabusele make a bad or make the wrong basketball play. Maybe you saw different. Maybe you guys feel differently, but for me, I feel like Yabusele consistently makes the right basketball play. And I feel like he's getting better and better as a defender. He's fouling less. Now, I feel like he plays pretty good defense. He doesn't get caught with his hand in the cookie jar too much. And on top of that, I feel like for the most part, if he does get called for a foul, I can live with it because it wasn't a silly foul. He was just playing defense, and the refs are going to call it the way they're going to call it. But I feel like he does a good job just keeping his feet moving. When keeping up with the with the ball handler. He just does a good job getting to his shot. He knows his spots on the floor. He knows another guy who knows his skill set, knows his limitations. I love seeing him get busy in the post. I love seeing him get the work in the post because that's an old school game. Yabusele has an old school game, right? He could shoot, but he can also put his back to the basket and put the ball on the floor, make a couple moves, and get you jumping or get you reaching, whatever it may be. Yabusele, he got an old head game. He got an old man's game, but he can shoot the rock, and that's why he'll always have a spot on his team. That's why he'll have a role and he'll get more minutes. Yabusele in this game played 31 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, I want to make sure I got his minute count correct as well. He played 31 minutes in this game. Yabusele played a season high 31 minutes. And if you ask me, he had his best game by far. Some people may say that Phoenix game was probably one of his best games, where he went crazy from the 3-point line, going 5 for 11, putting up 19 points. But in this Charlotte matchup, he went 8 for 13. He was a menace in that third quarter. In the third quarter, Jared McCain and Yabusele were phenomenal. Jared McCain scored 14 points in 14 minutes. And Yabusele, again, rolling to the basket, attacking the rim. I love seeing Yabusele in the high pick and roll. I love seeing him constantly. He sets good screens too. He sets good screens. He's very disciplined in that regard. Yabusele and McCain, they combined for 22 points in the third quarter. McCain scored 10 of his 16 points in the third quarter. Yabusele and Jared McCain took over in the second half. They took over. Paul George, I'm not going to say Paul George had a bad game, but he didn't have a good second half. I'll tell you that right now. Paul George played 33 minutes, went 6 for 18 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3, not good at all. 3 rebounds, 9 assists. One thing I will give Paul George credit for is that he's been a willing passer and he's been trying to get other guys involved, knowing they can't win if he's the only one trying to score. So, again, flirted with the double-double, 15 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, 3 rebounds. Has to shoot better from deep, though. And I think those shots will eventually fall once he continues to get his legs under him and, get his basketball wind. But, I appreciate the assist. I appreciate him still trying to find a way to impact the game. He played very good on-ball defense. Had his hands in the passing lanes. I want to give credit to the whole team, by the way. The whole team did a great job being sticky in defense and just having active hands. That's what stood out to me a lot in this game as well. They were hustling. They had active hands. They did get out-rebounded. I will say that much. But again, I felt like they were hustling in this game. I felt like they knew they needed this game. They were home. They had the home team behind them. And they maximized the opportunity. Now, they had this team. They had the Charlotte Hornets by double digits in the fourth quarter. They were up by at least 14 points, 16 points, if I'm not mistaken. And somehow, some way, they let them get back into the game. They started losing discipline on defense. They weren't getting back in transition quick enough. Offense dried up. They turned the ball over one too many times. They got sloppy. They got sloppy in those final minutes of the game, and they allowed Charlotte to get back into that game. You saw LaMelo Ball knocking down shots, clutch shot after clutch shot. LaMelo Ball had 38 points on the night. He almost had a 40 ball. So, LaMelo Ball was just in his bag. He went 13 for 30 from the field, 6 for 18 from three. LaMelo Ball, he can hoop. 8 assists, he can hoop. The thing about his game though, his game can be a little. I don't know if clumsy is the word, but LaMelo Ball's game can be a little wild, right? The way he shoots, sometimes he can lack control, but he's talented as hell. He's great at he's great. So, yeah, I do think this was a great win for the Sixers, a really good win for the Sixers, a tough one. They earned it, but I just wish that it didn't have to go into overtime. You were controlling that game, especially in the second half, and you took your foot off the gas. You got sloppy. It was unfortunate. But regardless, they stayed tall, they stood tall, and they won the game. Jared McCain came up big in the crucial minutes. Yabusele came up big in the crucial minutes. I wanna voice some frustration though. I'm gonna voice some frustration. Caleb throws this, says we needed that win. I'm not gonna lie, bro. We needed that win like yesterday, bro. We needed that win. The Philadelphia 76ers are 2-7 on the NBA season right now. When you look at the standings, for the league, the Eastern Conference is off to a slow start. There's only 2 teams above 500 in the East, whereas though in the West, you got 9 teams above 500. 9. You got 9 teams above 500 in the West. You got 2 teams above 500 in the East. So I say all that to say the Philadelphia 76ers season is very much within reach. The Indiana Pacers are 5-5 on the season. The Sixers are only 2-7. Put that in perspective. They're only behind. They're only 2.5 games back from the second seed. Isn't that crazy to think about? The third seed. They're only 2.5 games back from the third seed. Shout out to my man Jake from State Farm. Aloha, my friend. Aloha. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you for locking in on the show. CJ Johnson, welcome to the show, my man. I appreciate you for being here. It means a lot to me. I appreciate all you other guys that are here as well. I appreciate all of you who are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I appreciate you guys who are watching me live right now. And some of you guys maybe you had to double back on YouTube, had to rewatch it, whatever you had to do. Regardless, though, I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you giving me your time. It means a lot to me. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button if you're new to the show. I appreciate it. But again, the Sixers are 2-7 right now on the season, only 2.5 games back from the third seed. So your season is very much within reach, very much within reach. You're about a 5-game win streak away from being 500, and quite frankly, you're a 3-game win streak away from being the number 3 seed. But that's if those other teams continue to lose. The Orlando Magic, they lost Paolo for Lord knows how long. They lost Paolo. He's only played 5 games this year. Who knows when he comes back? Paolo was on a tear too. He was averaging 29 points for the Magic. Who else? The New York Knicks, they're still trying to find their way with their new look roster. They have Karl Anthony Towns now. It's a little bit of a revamped roster for them, so they're trying to find their way. Miami, they've been battling injuries. Jimmy Butler's been battling injuries, so they've been having to fight without him. The Brooklyn Nets, they have no real star power. They're not going to get anything from Ben Simmons. That's just the truth. Chicago, gritty team. They got Zach LaVine. But that's about it. Charlotte, obviously, he's got finished playing them. Detroit, I like their roster, but they're young, and we lost to them. The Atlanta Hawks, they got Trae Young, obviously. The Washington Wizards, they drafted their rookie. I forget his name, though. Is it SARS? They drafted SARS. And obviously the Sixers are 2-7. So, this Eastern Conference is very much within reach. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics are pretty much head and shoulders above everyone. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 11-0 on the season. They're the lone undefeated team left. Boston Celtics are 9-2. But again, right, when you put it in perspective, you're 5 games back or you're 6 games back from the number 2 seed, and you're 2.5 games back from the number 3 seed. That's crazy, right? So they have a chance. They have a chance. Jake from State Farm says Maxey being out with a hamstring is big. Hopefully that injury doesn't bug him throughout the season. Absolutely, bro. The hamstring is very tricky, and that's why I think they're taking their time with it and they're not trying to rush him back. C Johnson, excuse me. He says Jeff Doughton has some good minutes too. Yeah, good call. And you know what? I have that in my notes. I have that right here in my notes, my man. I have it right here. Jeff Doughton Jr. was given some minutes in the first, and he was solid on both ends, especially on the perimeter. Made a 3-point shot, got to the free throw line for 2 more points. And on top of that, Jeff Doughton came back again in the second quarter with another 2-point bucket to start the quarter. I wrote here when it comes to Jeff Doughton, I like his game. He's very smooth, playing within the game, plays with a nice pace, long arms that help on defense, and it also keeps his shot attempts from being blocked. On top of that, Doughton was able to hit a mid-range jumper that he created for himself. And, Doughton went back to the bench. He filled in well for Kelly Oubre, who was in foul trouble at the time. In the short time Jeff Doughton was on the court prior to coming back in, he had 9 points in limited minutes. And then Jeff Doughton came back in. He ended the game. Jeff Doughton ultimately ended the game with 11 points, going 4 for 7 from the field, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, a steal, no turnovers, +3 in the plus-minus column. So again, they got some very, very crucial minutes, some great minutes from Jeff Doughton. That was a good call by UC Johnson. CJ, that was a good call. That was a good call because I really enjoyed watching Jeff Doughton play. I like his game. He's very smooth, very smooth. I would love to see him get more minutes. I like that Nick Nurse is actually playing these young guys more. I appreciate that. Seeing Jared McCain get more minutes, seeing Jeff Doughton get 23 minutes last night was pretty cool to see. I know KJ Martin didn't play. I know Ricky Council didn't play. I know Bona didn't play, right? I get that. But, there are some games where you got to experiment a little bit. You got to find your scoring. And I like KJ Martin, but he's not a consistent well of scoring. He's great defensively. And a lot of the times his defense leads the points. And he's athletic. He slashes to the rim. He can knock down an open 3 if you give him some time. But he doesn't have the bag, in my opinion, that Jeff Doughton showed me last night, or Jared McCain. He doesn't have that kind of ball handling ability, in my humble opinion. He's an athletic guy who's going to play defense, going to slash, going to get putbacks. You might get him he might get an alley-oop. He'll get points for you in transition. But you got to get these young guys on the court, and I love seeing Jeff Doughton on the floor, Jeff Doughton Jr., excuse me. I love seeing Yabusele on the floor, even though he's more so a young veteran. He's 28 years old. He was in the NBA before, but he spent a lot of time overseas. Yabusele was in Boston from 2017 to 2019. Spent 5 years overseas honing his game, and he's back in the NBA playing for the Sixers, and he looks amazing. He looks amazing. As a matter of fact, Yabusele was drafted with Jaylen Brown. So, you guys can put that in perspective. But Yabusele looks like an entirely different player. Again, his game is much more refined than his first stint in the league. He can shoot. He can pass. He's a willing defender. He hustles. He's instinctive. He's decisive. I like Yabusele's game. I really, really do. Philly 007 says Nick Nurse got to stop playing Eric Gordon. He's so slow on defense, bro. He's very slow. He's slow. He's slow on both ends. He's slow on defense, slow on offense. He's so fucking slow. And I don't mean no disrespect. I was growing up, I was a big Aaron Gordon fan. I loved watching Eric Gordon play for the Clippers back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I loved Eric Gordon when he was with the Rockets. Eric Gordon has really earned his stripes in this league. Eric Gordon has earned his stripes in his league for sure. He was good with the Pelicans. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, Eric Gordon Eric Gordon is just an OG in this game, man. He's an OG. Put in a lot of time in this league, and he's just not what he used to be. And obviously, you can't really expect that. Eric Gordon is 35 years old. 35 years old. He's been in the league since 2008. Think about that. I remember playing with Eric Gordon on 2K in 2009, 2010. I remember that. And he was a bucket. Super athletic dude. But nonetheless, though, he's limited. He can shoot. He's a spot-up guy. You don't want him putting the ball on the floor. You don't want him having to do too much. He's a spot-up guy. Let's see. Philly 007 says, see what happens when you actually play the young guys much faster pace on offense. Yeah, you saw it. You saw how fast they were able to move on offense. Guys were flying around. Guys were hustling. Jared McCain and Yabusele add a spark to this team. They add a spark to this team. I like the lineup of Jared McCain, Yabusele, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Caleb Martin. I like that lineup. I do. I really do. I even like the lineup with Jared McCain, Caleb Martin, Jeff Doughton Jr., Yabusele, and Paul George. I like that lineup too. But yeah, I got away from something I was going to tell you guys. So I'm a little frustrated with Paul George. I'm a little annoyed with Paul George right now. And it's nothing too serious, but it's something that I noticed. And it bothered me. So Paul George has been back for what? 3 games so far? Paul George has been back for 4 games. I'll take that back. So his first game back was that Phoenix game. That was his first game back. And, his first night back, he put up 15 points on 4 for 14 from the field. Against the Clippers, he put up 18 points, 7 for 9 from the field. Against the Lakers, only 9 points, going 4 for 13. Only played 25 minutes. And then against Charlotte, 33 minutes, 15 points, 6 for 18 from the field. So he's not really shooting well right now. He's not shooting well right now. But here's my problem. If you know you're not shooting well right now, why the hell are you trying to line up for the game-winning shot? Why? Explain to me why Paul George thinks he's the one that should be taking the final shot when he hasn't made a fucking basket all half. Let's be real about this. And I don't mean no disrespect. I like Paul George. I love his game. But he's been a streaky shooter since coming back from injury. And I understand he's still getting his legs under him. But when, for example, in that Phoenix game, when Tyrese Maxey is balling like that, you don't take that final shot. Maxey takes that final shot. And then on Sunday, McCain was balling, hooping, was feeling it. You don't take that final shot. As a matter of fact, you don't take the shot that you took. You don't take that shot. All you needed was a layup or 2 points. You tried to settle for the 3-point shot. That's not the shot to take in that moment. And you're not the one to take it when you were cold the entire half. I understand you paying him big money for those moments. But at the end of the day, in basketball, momentum is real. Momentum is very real. Jared McCain was the hot hand, and he was comfortable. He was feeling it. He was confident. Y'all should have drew up something for McCain, not Paul George. And then to make it even worse, he didn't even drive to the basket. He caught the ball and got stuck in no man's land. Settled for a 3-point shot. We go into overtime. So I know Paul George's shot is eventually going to start falling more. I know it is. Don't get me wrong. I know Paul George's shot is going to start falling, and I think Paul George is going to be a great player for the Sixers. I can already feel and see how he's going to make this team better. I like how they play with him around. I do like that. I like it. I like that he can create his own shot in the mid-range. I love that he has a post game. He has a very nice turnaround jump shot. I love his handle. He's a two-way player. He can defend. He can facilitate. I like his game. And I think the Sixers are going to be really great when Maxey and Embiid come back with Paul George. I think they're going to be really, really good. But, in my opinion, you can't take that shot. You just can't take that shot. And that's just me. That's just me. But like my man Philly 007 said, Joel Embiid will be back. He's supposed to be coming back for that Knicks game. So we're going to see Paul George, Joel Embiid, Jared McCain. We're going to see Yabusele with Joel Embiid. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how Joel Embiid comes back. Now, I'm sure they're going to have him on a minutes restriction. Don't be surprised if you see Embiid out there for just 25 minutes. Don't be surprised. And you're home. So, yeah, again, nationally televised game. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you only see him out there for 25 minutes or so. But again, McCain is showing you that he can put the ball on the floor. He can facilitate. He can score. He hustles on both sides of the ball. His shot is starting to fall. He's getting more confident. He was going right at LaMelo Ball. He had no fear in his heart. He had no fear guarding LaMelo Ball, and he had no fear scoring on LaMelo Ball. There was a moment in the game where I think it was overtime where he played really good on-ball defense on LaMelo Ball and forced the shot clock violation. So again, I can't wait to see how Jared McCain plays with Paul George and Joel Embiid. I really can't wait to see that. Caleb throws this, says, but 25 of those minutes we're gonna be cooking. I agree. I think Embiid is gonna be balling tomorrow. I really, really do. I really do. But again, he's gonna have to get his wind, his second win back. Philly 007 says, Tone, you think it's crazy to say put Caleb Martin on the bench and add Yabu to start? I don't think it's crazy to say bring Caleb Martin off the bench. I don't think that's crazy to say at all. I don't think that's crazy not one bit. I'm actually of the mindset I would love to see Yabusele in the starting lineup. I think we need to experiment with a Yabusele Joel Embiid lineup. I think we need to experiment with that. I would love to see a lineup with Jared McCain at the 1, Tyrese Maxey at the 2, Kelly Oubre at the 3. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. Jared McCain at the 1, Tyrese Maxey at the 2, Paul George at the 3, Yabusele at the 4, and Embiid at the 5. I would love to see that. I would love to see what that looks like. 007 says Yabo adds more rebounding, playmaking, and a bigger body on defense. Absolutely. He's physical. He's active with his hands. He's active on defense. He's an aggressive rebounder. Does he get them all? No, but he's active. He's going to fight for him. He gets assists. He playmakes. As a matter of fact, how many assists did Yabo have in that game? And I want to give a shout out to Andre Drummond, too. Andre Drummond contributed a lot in this game. Andre Drummond gave you 13 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 10 boards. But Yabusele, let me see. Okay, Yabusele didn't have any assist in this game, but he had 8 boards, 2 offensive rebounds. He had 20 points. He was plus 12 on the field. He managed to finish that game with 5 fouls going into overtime. So he did a good job being disciplined on defense throughout the game. But yeah, man, I would love to see Yabusele getting more minutes or being inserted in the starting lineup. C. Johnson, excuse me. He says, I don't know if I can get too mad at PG just yet. He is the best free agent that was willing to come here and play with Embiid. I can give it time. Oh, no, for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure, CJ. For sure. For sure, CJ. If it seemed like I was crucifying Paul George, that's my bad. The last thing I want to do is crucify Paul George. He's coming back from injury. And he does make the Sixers better, no matter what I say. So I don't want it to get it misconstrued that I'm down on Paul George. I'm not down on him whatsoever. And honestly, I'm not angry at him. I just had a bone to pick with him. That's all. Because I watched that game twice. I wanted to make sure I was prepared for our conversation. I watched that game twice. And he was shooting way better in the first half. But the second half, he was cold. He was cold, especially in the fourth quarter. He was cold. He was still facilitating, passing the ball, but he was cold. So in my mind, why will the cold hand shoot the last shot? That's it for me. I ain't got nothing bad to say about his game though. I feel like he's doing the best he can in the minutes he's given. His shot is eventually going to fall. He's being more aggressive. He took more shots yesterday than he did in every game he's played this season. And granted, he's played in 4 games, but he's taking more shots, being more aggressive, facilitating more. You know what I'm saying? Against the Lakers, he had 8 assists. Against Charlotte, he had 9 assists. So if his shots are not falling, he's still trying to get guys involved and get guys going off the ball, which I appreciate. So I'm for Paul George, but I just had a problem with him taking those shots at those moments. That's all. But they are better with him. Caleb throws this, says Andre Drummond to be rebounded. Yo, Andre Drummond, he is a presence in the paint. He's aggressive. He fights. He's strong. He's not going to make it easy for nobody down there. He's perfect to back up Joel Embiid. He's perfect. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to try to put the ball up. He's going to get to the free throw line, even though he probably misses half of them, but he's going to keep shooting. He's going to keep attacking. I appreciate Andre Drummond's game. I like Andre. Philly 007 says, exactly, Tone. He brings more to the game than Martin right now, at least. Yeah, Yabusele. And look, this is me I'm not trying to dog Caleb Martin because I feel like Caleb Martin is shooting better. Maybe you guys feel differently, but, Caleb Martin, if you ask me, and he didn't really have a good game yesterday. He went 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Didn't really shoot well in that game last night. But prior to that, Caleb Martin, 13 points against the Lakers, 14 points against the Clippers. He had 17 points against Indiana. He's a role player. And I feel like he's been doing what role players do. 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 4 steals against Charlotte. So, he wasn't that aggressive. But you're right, though. Yabusele gives you way more than Caleb Martin. But they also play the position. They also play 2 different roles on this team, too. But I think Yabusele should get, again, I want to see a lineup, and we're going to start to close the show soon, but I want to see a lineup with Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Yabusele, and Joel Embiid. I want to see that. I want to see what that looks like because Yabusele, believe it or not, he stretches the floor. He creates space for Joel Embiid. He does. And I think his hustle will take a lot of pressure off of Joel Embiid. Yabusele is going to do all the dirty work for Joel Embiid. All of it. I would love to see him in the lineup next to Embiid because I know he's going to do all the dirty work. I know he is. So, yeah. But that's pretty much the show, you guys. The Philadelphia 76ers, they ended up beating the Charlotte Hornets in overtime. They beat them 107-105. And next up, they have the New York Knicks tomorrow night on TNT, nationally televised game. Joel Embiid supposedly makes his return. So it's going to be really exciting to see him back on the floor. It's a home game. The next couple games, you got New York, you got Cleveland. Those are going to be some really tough games. If the Philadelphia 76ers can win before those games, we're back on track. And remember, I made that bold prediction with my guys, DJ Eastwood from Running Back Philly and my man Mike Sports Vibes. I made a bold prediction that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to win the next 4 games. So as of right now, we're 1 for 4. Can they beat New York? Can they beat Cleveland? Can they beat Orlando? It all remains to be seen, but so far, so good. And it's straight like that. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Make sure you guys smash that like button. That like button is so important with the show growing. Us trying to expand our reach, expand our platform, talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and talking about your Philadelphia Eagles. You guys already know I bring that fire when it comes to the Eagles, so you know I'm going to bring that heat when it comes to your Philadelphia 76ers. So I really do appreciate you guys for locking in and being patient with the growth. And I appreciate every last one of you guys. All you ladies and gentlemen who watch the show and listen to the show on Apple Podcasts like you are right now, on Spotify. Those of you who double back on YouTube and watch the show back and watch the show live, man. I really do appreciate it all. So make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you are new. I love newcomers. I love new voices, new personalities. So make sure you guys bring your energy and I love it, and I appreciate you guys for it. Smash that like button, smash that like button, and by the way, smash that like button. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You have been tuned in to a Philadelphia 76ers edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.